Merry Christmas to the Low VA Rates Nation. Thank you so much for taking time to hang out with us here at Low VA Rates this Friday before the sacred Christmas weekend. Thanks for taking time. And today's topic is the VA Amendatory Clause. We got great artwork today because I'm like, anytime you can draw a man running away and breaking a chain from the VA Amendatory Clause, it's pretty awesome. But today's topic, believe it or not, is all about taking care of the veteran. So as we look at this one, if you're bored, because I know it's going to be a holiday weekend, maybe you've got some relatives that you don't want to hang out with and you want to go read something about the VA Amendatory Clause, here's the actual statute. It's 38 United States Code 501, subparagraph 3703, subparagraph C1. You can look this up and read all about it. But what this clause does, it makes sure that it reinforces the mission of the Department of Veterans Affairs is to take care of the veteran regarding their VA home loan benefits. And this amendatory clause has to deal with the earnest money. And what earnest money is the funds that a buyer conveys to a seller, and it's held at a title company, as good faith money towards the transaction. Now, I have seen some VA loans where there's been no earnest money involved in the transaction. That does happen. But in the event, and sometimes the earnest money, it can range from, let's say, $500 even up to $5,000, depending on where the market is in the country. And that's a significant amount of money to have at risk based on a projected purchase price. So as we look at this earnest money impact, we have a purchase price that the buyer and the seller negotiate, and then we have a value. So because it is the Friday before Christmas, we're going to use some simple numbers today to make my day a little bit easier. Let's say the purchase price of the home is $100,000. Now, the Department of Veterans Affairs has a band of appraisers across the country that they have vetted, so they are unbiased in their approach to determining what the value is. So the VA selected appraiser, and remember, the VA is the one that assigns it. We here at Low VA Rates, if we need an appraisal done in the great state of Nebraska, we're going to reach out to the Department of Veterans Affairs. They're going to find an appraiser that is close in that geographic city of Nebraska and send them out there. We don't pick them, the veteran doesn't pick them, the seller doesn't pick them. Totally unbiased opinion. So they're going to go out, we're going to send them a contract that says, hey, Mr. Appraiser or Mrs. Appraiser, we'd like to go out and have an appraisal done on this property and let us know what the value is. They're going to come back and give us a reasonable value, and it's going to be supported by one of our underwriters here at Low VA Rates to confirm. They issue what's called a notice of value based on the appraisal that comes back. So in an instance where we have a $100,000 purchase price and the reasonable value comes back at $100,000, we really don't have any issues. Or sometimes the appraised value comes back at $105,000. In that instance, the veteran is getting $5,000 in equity in their home to begin with. Pretty exciting. But there are instances where the value may come back at $95,000, and that creates a difference. We have a shortage of $5,000. Now, there's a couple different ways that we can handle this. The veteran and the real estate agent may decide not to proceed with the transaction. And this is where that amendatory clause comes in that says, hey, if the value is not there, the veteran does not have to proceed with the contract. They can cancel the contract. They'll get their earnest money back. That doesn't mean they'll get a refund for maybe a home inspection that they've paid for. That could be between $300 and $500. And they may not get the appraised value refunded depending on the lender that they're working with. So how do we handle this $5,000? One of the things we could see is the real estate agents come together and they change this purchase price from $100,000 to $95,000. Now the VA Amendatory Clause, I know VA purchase loans have gotten some bad press in the years in the past, and I'll give you my own personal example. When I went to buy my first home with my wife years and years ago, the real estate agent said, "Do you want to use your VA home loan benefits?" And I said, "Absolutely, I do." Then she responded, she looked at my wife and said, "Well, you'll probably not get this house because at that time, everything was done through the mail. We've got this gee whiz cool thing now called the internet and FedEx, and we can move documents very quickly. Here at the low VA rates, we can actually close a purchase loan in 26 days if you engage with one of our VA home loan specialists and we work through that time expectation." So in my example in the past, I didn't use my VA home loan benefits to buy a home until many years after my first home I purchased. But in this instance, we're looking at this amendatory clause gives both the veteran the confidence and the real estate agent they're working with that they're going to get a fair deal. So in this instance, it was $100,000. Appraisal came back at $95,000. The seller can choose to lower their cost by $5,000, or maybe there was some form of seller concessions in this loan. For example, on this, maybe we had some seller concessions and the borrower wanted to split the difference. Maybe they go, "You know what, I really love this house." The veteran, in this instance, can still pay the difference. The veteran could say, "You know what, I love this house. Headquarters has to have this house." They're going to bring their own $5,000 to the closing table, and it lets them buy this house. So when they do that, we ask the veteran to write a statement that says, "Hey, I love this house so much. I know the reasonable value is $95,000. I will bring my personal funds of $5,000 to meet the purchase price." I have seen that example in very exciting real estate markets or very hot markets where there's not a lot of inventory. The veterans do that because they want the house. They know if they don't get that house, it may be a long time before they have an opportunity for another home. So it gives us, we've got a couple different scenarios on the VA Amendatory Clause we're going to recap today. If the value comes in at $100,000, or the value is at $100,000 and the appraisal's at $100,000 and the purchase price is at $100,000, we have no issues, we're good to go. If the purchase price is at $100,000 and the value comes in at $95,000, we have options, right? The option is you can go find another house to buy, or the real estate agents can renegotiate the purchase price down to $95,000, or the third option there is they can bring $5,000 out of their own pocket to closing. The other one we looked at is, hey, the purchase price is $100,000, the value comes in at $105,000, so the veteran gets $5,000 of equity. They're probably not going to invoke that amendatory clause. Whew, that's a lot on a Friday before Christmas. Lance, do we have any gee whiz cool comments from offsite? None? Hey, Low VA Rate Stations, thank you for supporting us in 2017. I know we're getting close to the end of the year. We do appreciate all of our Facebook followers, our Instagram followers. Thank you for making us the company that we are, because we're always dedicated to the veterans we work for. Have a wonderful, safe Christmas weekend, and we'll see you guys all next Friday.